Yo, what's happening? Mike Myers is back. Five P's and Me podcast studio once again, bringing to you another episode, one in which will surely help you improve, develop, and create a new self. Today, man, I just want to focus on this demonstration. First and foremost, of course, we know that when we watch basketball, or sometimes we see that guard take that play. If he's been coached right, if he's been coached right, that guard, he'll know what to do because he's been prepared. However, when he's not being coached by, or the coach might miss one of them drills or one of them, schemes, dribbling the ball up the court, approach the half court line. Here comes double team. Immediately, an unseasoned person or unseasoned player gonna be like, God, what should I do? You know what I mean? Either he gonna pick his dribble up and cause more, make it more impossible for him to advance the ball, or he's gonna check this out. He's gonna panic and either try to do more than what he's capable of doing and turn the ball over. Why? Because he wasn't prepared. So my subject today is panic. You know what I'm saying? Panic is when fear becomes so strong that it overtakes our ability to think and respond calmly. You know what I'm saying? So when we panic, we create the situations and it causes us to worry and stress beyond the norm. You know what I mean? Say, for instance, living above our means. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we can live above our means trying to catch up with so and so or such and such down the street. And, they driving really fast. Might have a job, might have that extra income coming in to where, they can floss, you know what I'm saying, and do the things. Okay. Now, us not having that, resource available to us, we operating off of $14, $15 an hour. But here we going flossing. We buying Rocket Fireball, or we buying the latest J's or the red bottoms, you know what I'm saying? Not understanding or not realizing, neglecting, neglecting the, neglecting the fact that these bills are coming up. So as soon as that bill come up, you're like, oh wow, you might be short or you might not even have it, you know. So okay, you put it off a minute. All right, let's say they give you that grace period. Okay, you take advantage of that grace period. Typically, it's like 10 days. So with that 10-day grace period, it's then it elapsed. Now you got another bill on top of it. Let's say this might be your car payment. You got rent due or a mortgage, however you say. And that check, you look at your check, one of them ain't gonna get paid. Well, you already know, you look at it like, man, well, let me go and try to make something happen. You know what I'm talking about? Now we get in our own way. Remember that segment? We get in our own way. So we go try to make something happen. And let's say, just simple, say you're a gambler. You go and you go to the casino, or you go to the gambling house, or wherever you go, you know what I'm saying? Play your little poker or whatever. And you find out that money that you earned for the last 2 weeks has been squandered. So you immediately like, damn, I'm gonna pay my bills now. Yeah, how am I gonna pay my bills, man? You know what I mean? My car payment, I got to take a late payment. Now I got to, explain to my bank or my landlord that I can't pay my rent this month. Okay. Now, there you go. You overthinking some things. What I gotta do? I need to go rob Peter to pay Paul. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you overzealously thinking. You worry, you stressing, trying to figure out everything in hot water and how you gonna get these bills paid. So you like, yeah, you might whatever it takes to do, you give and you by any means necessary, you try to make it happen. And it falls through. So now you really in panic mode. So, you know, in essence, what I'm getting at is saying, sometimes we induce our own panic, and that is a typical example of how we, bring that panic upon ourselves. In that panic, it produces fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear, you know, of the unknown, not knowing, what's to come if I don't pay these bills. We often will worry, you know, worry and stress. And stress, you keep thinking about it, you keep thinking about it. It's something that creates, a snowball effect if you allow it, with your stinking thinking, man. Hey, you might take a small incident and make it into a big mountain. And when all of a sudden, man, all you have to do is look and let the tape play out, understand, like, man, wow. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. All I had to do was explain to him, like, man, listen, I'm gonna be late, you know, give me an opportunity to, and I'll pay the late fee or whatnot, but whatever it takes, man, allow me the opportunity to, pay without you stressing about it or, you wonder when the next payment is gonna be made. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, uh, I have an example for, panic, how panic can cause one to go overboard again. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be in the streets. I used to be in the streets, tough, me hustling and whatnot, not even knowing, the 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 uh the rule behind, being in the streets. If you're gonna be in the streets, learn the streets. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna break the law, know the law. You know what I mean? Anyway, a career. However, if you ride in them streets like that, man, say for instance, if a rainy day come up, you get popped. You know what I'm saying? You may have been doing this or doing that. However, a lot of these detectives, when I sit up there, they hit you with one case, they try to hit you with the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? To try to clear their caseload. So they come tell you, yeah, we're gonna give you blah 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 years, blah 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 years. I can't spend the rest of my I can't do no 15 years, I can't do no 10 years. And that might not be the case, but this is they ploy to get you to talk. And they recognize fear when they see it and they take advantage of it. So, and that you wondering, you going to sleep, you pondering what they done told you a week. You didn't spend 4, 5 months in the jail. You know what I mean? And they keep on coming with this. Well, if you don't, but because you didn't sit up there and take the time to understand, you know, the game in which you was playing, or know the game in which you was playing. Now you forced to sit up there and tell on yourself, you know what I'm saying, for things that you may or may not have did. You may even cop out to that just to get the plea. When in all understanding, had you prepared, you might sit up there and wiggle up out of that. You know what I'm saying? So panic, man, it causes us to think irrationally and do things regretting, the end result. You know what I mean? So, you know, uh, panic is one of them P's again, but it's not one of them P's that we want to sit up there and internalize. We want to be able to combat it. Combat it. And how do you combat it? You know what I'm saying? You go with first of all, discipline. Discipline and, knowing your boundaries, where you're going, how you going to get there. You know what I'm saying? Is this within my means, or is this part of my circle? Or is this, what I'm saying, where I need to go? You know? So when it's getting, you know, panicking is as big a problem as what we make it. We sit up here and see it for what it really is. You will understand that, man, all along. Had I took the time to think, I would have saw straight through and been able to calmly respond. Most of the time, the answer, the resource, the help to the problem is right in front of us, man. And we fail to see it because we so busy worrying about, you know, the unknown. Huh? So sometimes we just plain old letting it play out, man. You know what I mean? You just got to let the play out. And at the end you'll see actions. Anyway, yeah, let me see what so control what you can. Don't worry yourself crazy. You know what I'm saying? Control what you can. That's another asset to have, man. You know what I mean? If you can't control, you gotta let it go. Ain't no use in worrying and stressing about what you can't control. What you can't control will soon manifest itself in being something that worked itself out through the process anyway. You learn to control what you can. Simple as said, man. If I can't control it, it's beyond my means. So I got to let somebody who's better than me or somebody higher than me, handle it and give me, the direction or the guidance and how to, alleviate the problem. You know, Panic says something terrible. This is what Panic said. Panic says something is terrible going on. I must react right now. That's irrational thinking, man. You ain't giving yourself the opportunity to let that tape play out. He said, you check where I'm going with this. Mention, there goes that P word. Again, here goes that P word, man. The very P word that the whole 5P principle is centered around. It's preparation. See what I'm saying? Preparation says I can think, I can plan, and I can respond. Wow. Think. Yeah. First of all, think, right? Then you can plan like, okay, let me see. I'm gonna approach this situation like this, and I'm gonna go here, see what you know what I'm saying, and then plan it out and respond. You respond to, you know, what you may have you responded to instantaneously might not be won't I can guarantee you won't be the same thing as what you responded to after you done thought and planned it out. But yeah, there's a different ending to that, man. So you gotta sit up there and think, plan, respond. That's what preparation does for you, man. That's that P word, man. Yeah, there's that P word again. Preparation creates confidence to do productive. The more you prepare, the more confident you become in, handling a situation in the way it's supposed to be handled. You got to believe, first of all, you got to believe. Once that belief is because the animal is a confidence, what I'm saying? I believe I can do it. And the more you strengthen yourself by saying, I believe I can believe, and here comes the confidence to say, okay, I can. This is all a process, you know what I'm saying, to handling instantaneous thoughts that might, cause you havoc, in dealing with any situation, you know what I'm saying? So you learn to think, plan, and respond, man. Behind that's what preparation does, man. And again, y'all know what this is all about: proper preparation, man. That's appropriate readiness. So I'm ready because I sit up here and plan this out. I prepared this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, gotta learn how to remain grounded when panic shows up. You know what I mean? That's where that calmness come in at. You know, grounded. Grounded means can't nothing sway you. You know what I mean? And you know, being able to see and act calmly as opposed to acting, you know, in opposition to calmness, man. You will see things could be a lot much more better when you are in a calm state of mind as opposed to reacting or responding, out of irrational thinking. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing, man. But ultimately, like I said, all this comes down to discipline, man. You know, you disciplining yourself to be able to see things for what they are and then respond. You know what I mean? You the more you can discipline yourself, the more better off your life will be. Period. Period. And I am an advocate of such because I had to learn. And still, like you're gonna hear me say this all the time. I'm still learning. I can only talk about what I know. You know what I'm saying? Because my experiences have shown me, you know, that I need to employ these principles so that I can think better, be better, and do better. Flat out. That's think better, be better, and do better. I'm not perfect, but at the same respect, uh, I'm still becoming, man. I'm still becoming. I love that phrase. I'm still becoming. Yes, Um, that's gonna end my segment. But before I end, though, I want to give big ups to you know all the local black owned restaurants, clothing stores, food trucks. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to y'all for striving out there, going at that dollar line, chasing it back to make a better you, to make a better, you know, life for you and your family. I want to say thank you to all my Facebook friends and followers, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Come on, y'all. Come on, subscribe if y'all like it, man. Subscribe, share, man. This ain't about, you know, glorifying the fact that I got 1,000 likes, if that were the case. It's about glorifying the fact that we move together, man. Ah, y'all say, man, football season is right around the quarterback. You said the boys, man, they look good the other night. They look good the other night. Yeah, it was a third string, but they looked good, man. So, we gonna see what this NFL season gonna bring, man. You know what I'm saying? Go, y'all go, man. Go. How they say, how about them Cowboys, man? How about them Cowboys? Flat out. Um, Again, man, this has been another 5 P's and me production. You've been peed on by the 5B principle. It's Mike Mines. I'm out, man.